First, this starts when this person commented, "Why y'all always gotta answer a question when it is already answered?" And Jiox says, "Don't please." This person was probably confused by why Jiox said "don't please," so they said, "Don't what?" And said, "You not about to say don't please without giving a reason." They also said, "What you even mean about that?" Then, after a few unrelated messages, Jiox says, "Yes, I know. Stop trying to act like you are higher than me. And you did not give me help, I know it. So stop conversation over." Then someone says, "You all calm down, it was just a quick question." Then, in response to Jiox, Nyandit says, "Higher than you? Who do you think you are?" After that, they ping someone. Jiox, in response to Nyandit, says, "Stop. Now." In response to Jiox, Nyandit says, "No, you stop. Out here telling me to stop when I didn't do anything wrong. Didn't break any rules. Like you want to argue ADP." Jiox, in response to this says, "Being rude." Then, in response to that, Nyandit says, "Wasn't being rude, but go off." Then Jiox says, "You need to stop now. Conversation over." Then Nyandit says, "You replied to me. It's been over, bud." Someone explained that Trashiez has a corrupt staff team, and they were an assistant manager. Jiox says, "You are none of these roles." Then Eco says, "Plus don't reply to a bug report that's not really a bug / already has been answered, as it may confuse others that it is an actual bug." Then Drevels, in response to Jiox, says if you actually read it clearly, it said that he was an assistant manager. He didn't claim to be any other roles. Then Jiox, in response says, "Stop or I'm going to report." Then Do Evil says, "Go ahead and report. I will be waiting for my punishment." After that, someone just said hello in chat. But Jiox for some reason doesn't like that, so in response, he says hello. Please don't side chat. If you want to, you may head over to chat. Then Dravelas says, "Don't even bud. You've been doing side chats in here. Gotta be the most irritating middle rank member I ever encountered." Jiox says, "Stop. This is when I come in." I respond with, "Stop being on an ego trip." Jiox says, "Stop being rude." I say, "Stop being mad at little things like questions." Then Jiox says something that doesn't make sense. You know his doctor disrespect. So that's why I am. I was confused. Jiox didn't know why I was confused. So I said, "What are you talking about?" Then he says, we both stop now." Still in broken grammar. So I say, "Your grammar is so broken." Then he says finally in non-broken grammar, "No, it isn't. Yours is actually." In response I say, "My grammar is correct. Yours is broken." Then he says, back to broken grammar, "You are not using uppercase letters, no grammar. I am." Then in response I say, "I don't use uppercase letters because it doesn't matter. Your grammar makes no sense." Eco, replying to both of us, says, "Please avoid fighting in bug reports. If you wish to talk with each other, please do so in chat." In response, I say, "This guy is saying things that make no sense, and he is on an ego trip." Then in response to Jiox I say, "You also just admitted your grammar is broken by saying, 'No grammar, I am.' I'd met him that he is on an ego trip and needs to get humbled." Jiox says this long text that is AI generated. Jiox then says, "This may affect you getting banned from our server," even though he doesn't own the server. He then says, "Because you can't be telling me to stop outside chatting if I'm above you." Clearly, he is on an ego trip. Finally, he says, "I might open a ticket and then you'll be banned." Then I put the first part of the text into an AI detector. It showed that the text is 100% AI generated. I responded to Grok saying, "This is an AI generated response." Then I say a bunch of text, basically saying that he doesn't have power. Jiox responds by saying, "And I can report this to a ticket," even though he just said that in the last message. Then he reacts to my message saying, "Are you trying to act super professional, and you're not even the staff?" Then I say, "At least I'm more professional than an actual worker." Then for some reason he uses the same argument against me saying, "At least I'm an actual worker in Washies. And I actually get promotions." You probably get demoted. Then he says the most cringe rhyme ever. Try to act so cool and like you're a fool. Then I was going to say, that's not the point I was telling you. You took my argument and flipped it around, and also, you're not a rapper. But I got blocked. In conclusion, Trashiez has the most power-hungry, high ego, middle ranks. Make sure to like and subscribe.